Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Juana Andrew with you on this alert day morning as we're keeping an eye on how things are trending throughout the rest of the day. So, a lot to watch across the region for today, and we'll be keeping an eye on trends over the next 10 days as well, because things are going to get pretty interesting pretty quickly across our area. For those of you maybe dealing with any sinus issues, you haven't been around anybody that's sick, but you're still dealing with like stuffiness, drainage. That may be because of the swings in temperatures that we've seen over the past couple of days. So these switches from 70s to 40s to 60s to 30s and back and forth certainly could be the reason that you are dealing with that stuffiness. And also for those of you who get migraines and aches and pains, maybe in your joints, just a heads up that as we head over the next couple of days with these multiple systems moving through, you're going to be feeling that pain a little bit more. So just giving you that heads up today, tomorrow, Saturday, certainly will be the days where you may feel it a little bit more. So if you're wondering why your head hurts a little bit this morning, that may be it. I get migraines every time a cold front moves through, which is very interesting for a meteorologist. I can literally sense when there's active weather coming our way physically. So that's something that just want to give you a heads up if you usually deal with that as well. Good morning to everybody that is hopping in. I'm going to give a little bit more time for more people to get on this stream just because we do have a lot to talk about, and I know a lot of people are going to have questions. So good morning to Tracy, to you in Salem. Good morning, Nancy. I know you want to talk about next week. I will in a bit. And good morning, Sean in Prospect. Yeah, so many of you watching this morning dealing with the gloomy conditions, looking at our Skytrack camera in E-Town. It is just cloudy. It's kind of meh outside right now as we're dealing with those temperatures in the 30s. So we had that front move through on Monday, and we're going to be watching those temperatures on the cold side for this morning. So I hope you are bundling up and making sure that you are staying as warm as possible, not just for this morning, but for the majority of the day. So yes, we're sitting in the 30s in most locations because of that front that moved through a couple days ago, and we're watching the clouds overhead across our region as of right now. We did have a little bit of drizzle try to move through our area this morning. Here's the thing about the rain for the morning hours. We do have a layer of drier air at the lower level of the atmosphere. So some of that that rain is going to try to fall, and what it's going to do is it falls through that layer of dry air. Some of it is going to evaporate. That's why this morning's rain chance Not really impressive. Drizzle at best in most spots for this morning. Now, once we get into later on today, that's when things are going to change because of the stationary front to our south. So we see the multiple lows, see that stationary front sitting across Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia. Now, that is the system that will move in later on today. That will bring some more of those thunderstorms our way. So that is going to be moving north as a warm front as we head into later on tonight, and will be the trigger for our severe threat. So let's talk a little bit more about that severe threat, because we do have some updates with this. Now, earlier this morning, if you're watching on Sunrise, you saw that severe threat, that marginal risk was mainly for those of you along and south of the parkways. The Storm Prediction Center has now pushed it further to the north towards the Ohio River. I'm not entirely surprised by that based on the trends that we've been watching throughout the morning. So yes, we have that marginal risk now further to the north. So for those of you basically from Meade County up towards Carroll County and south towards Adair County, you are dealing with this marginal risk in place. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a marginal, it's fine, right? But even with a marginal risk, we can run into situations where we see a few isolated thunderstorms that could be on the stronger side. And that's the thing with the marginal risk. The severe threat is not super widespread, not super organized, but one or two of those thunderstorms that become strong to severe, all it takes for there to be issues. So this is why we're going to be weather aware. I know some of y'all are just tired of me saying that all the time, but no, that is really the basis of it. So here are some of the things that we're going to be watching in terms of the storms overnight tonight into early tomorrow morning. We have to watch that potential for some damaging wind gusts. That's mainly for those of you south of Louisville that we see that potential for some of those damaging wind gusts. We also have to keep an eye on the potential for a spin-up tornado. I cannot rule that out, because we do have a lot of rotation that's going to be happening in the atmosphere as that warm front moves through later on tonight. So a spin-up tornado that's down and then gone in a bit, entirely possible later on tonight. And then we are keeping an eye on that hail potential now, because we're going to have so much of that colder air still there in parts of the atmosphere that some of these thunderstorms can tap into that and have some small to medium-sized hail with these storms. So we'll have to keep an eye on that small hail threat as we head into the overnight hours as well, even as early as this evening. So let's break down a little bit more about what we're expecting throughout the day today, into the overnight, and into tomorrow. So for this morning, we've seen the clouds overhead. We're sitting in the 30s across the area. Once we head into this afternoon, we're talking after 2, 3 o'clock. This is when you'll start to see some more of that rain actually reaching the ground. So we're talking light to moderate rain moving in for the afternoon and evening commute. So temperatures at this point for this afternoon will be upper 30s and low 40s in most spots. So we're not warming up very much throughout the day. We have an easterly wind across the area. When we have an easterly wind, it's just difficult for our temperatures to move. And that is what we're expecting all the way into the afternoon. Now we get into later on tonight, especially after 7, 8 o'clock. Here's some of these showers with some heavier rainfall, some thunderstorms even coming our way after about 7, 8 o'clock. This is as that warm front starts to push a little bit further to the north, starting to clip our southern Indiana counties at this point. And we'll be watching for some thunderstorms trying to become a little bit more robust right along that Kentucky-Tennessee border. We get past 10 p.m. This is when that severe threat starts to go up a little bit more across our area. Now, keep in mind, some of those initial thunderstorms towards 7, 8 o'clock, they do have the potential to be on the stronger side, but with the warm front not moving into our area until really the overnight hours, that severe threat won't really kick up until after about 10 p.m. in most locations. This is based on the current timing that we have. Now, if that front moves faster, then that severe threat is going to go up faster, which is why it's so important for you to be paying attention to the forecast as the day goes along, because things can evolve if the speed of this front changes. Now, we're going to be watching that warm front moving in for the overnight, so we're going to start to see more of those 40s, 50s coming our way into early tomorrow morning. And notice where you see some of those pinks showing up on your screen. Now, don't take it, as Bible, as gospel, where these spots are, but we are going to be seeing some more of those stronger thunderstorms moving into our region after midnight towards 2 a.m. We're going to keep that potential for those stronger storms. Then notice still mainly across Kentucky, matching up with what we're dealing with that marginal risk, still keeping an eye on that potential for some of those stronger thunderstorms all the way through about 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the time frame we're watching for that potential for damaging winds, the hail, spin up tornado, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. I know a lot of you have storm anxiety and you watch the blog to get that little bit of relief and help to alleviate some of that anxiety. Just have multiple ways to get alerts. Make sure your phone is not on do not disturb. Make sure if you have a weather radio, that's a really good option. If you have a phone, make sure that is loud so you can get the alerts when you need them overnight. So we'll be keeping an eye, once again, 10 p.m., 5 a.m. time frame. The main threats we're going to be looking at: damaging winds, heavy rain, the potential for a spin-up tornado, and some hail with some of those thunderstorms. Now we get past that point. It looks like we're going to get quieter conditions after the sun comes up. So we get a little bit of a break from the rain for your Thursday. Now, the question is, how warm will we be at this point? I'm thinking more of those 50s and 60s across our area at this point, since that warm front will be a little bit further to the north, and we'll be patiently waiting for the cold front to move through. Now, as it tries to move through, once we get into your Thursday afternoon and evening, the question is, are we going to get a little bit more of that rain with it? Now, this particular model is trying to bring some more of those showers and thunderstorms back into our region for the late afternoon and the evening hours on your Thursday. Not every model is tapping into that potential. So it's something that we're going to watch, because it's entirely a chance where we get rid of the morning rain and we're done with that rain for the rest of your Thursday. But if that front is able to tap in a little bit more to the energy in the atmosphere, then yes, we can have some more of those showers and thunderstorms for Thursday afternoon and evening. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that as of right now. Now, as we get into your Thursday night, any rain that's across the area at that point is going to start to move out and will be drier for the overnight hours into your Friday. So a lot to watch across the area. Carrie wants to know what happens to the 60s tonight. It doesn't look like that warm front is going to move in as quickly. So we have slowed down the warming trend. So as we get towards sunrise tomorrow, as of right now, the current trend shows the warm front moving in a little bit later, so that will allow us to only be in the 50s overnight and then see more of those 60s trying to show up, especially for those of you south of Louisville for tomorrow morning. So that's how the trend is going. That's why it's so important to know where that warm front is going to end up and how quickly it's going to move through the area, because that will dictate temperatures. It will dictate severe threat. Now, keep in mind for tonight, I'm going to be entirely upfront and honest with y'all. Keep in mind for tonight, if these thunderstorms are not able to bring that wind energy all the way down to the ground, then we do have a bust potential with this severe threat for later on tonight. That's entirely possible. If we can't get all of that wind energy down towards the ground, then we might see some hail, some heavy rain, and that's it. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But if those thunderstorms are able to tap into that strong wind overhead as we head into the overnight hours, then we're talking about the 60 plus mile per hour wind threat. We're talking about that potential for spin up tornadoes. So it is a conditional severe threat, but it's still something that we want to make sure that we are aware of. Sarah wants to know, are they planning to put any watches or warnings out? Not as of right now, since it is a conditional threat. They're not really thinking about putting any watches or warnings out as of right now. Now, as we get into the afternoon, then things are going to be evolving and they may try to put something out then. So we're going to watch it. In terms of rainfall totals, it does look like those of you further to the south of the parkway still have a better chance to see those rainfall totals close to an inch plus. It just depends on where we see some of those stronger thunderstorms moving through. But overall, around a quarter of an inch to an inch of rainfall with this system. So a lot to watch as we head throughout today and tomorrow. If you have any questions about today and tomorrow, drop them in the comments on social media and I'll try to get to them. Carrie says, I saw another report saying that there was going to be a glazing of ice in the Ohio Valley. Yes. So here's the thing. We're watching next week pretty closely for the potential for some wintry weather. It's still a little bit early to say if that's going to be straight up ice, snow, or rain across the region, because the timing and the track of that low will be key. And we'll have a better idea of what's going to happen as we head into next week after Saturday, because Saturday, we're going to do it all again. After seeing some more of those 40s and some sunshine trying to get through those clouds on Friday, we warm right back up into the 60s on Saturday. We have yet another front moving through Saturday. This could bring some showers and even the potential for some strong thunderstorms back into the forecast. We'll have to watch for that for Saturday, especially Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. So keep that in mind if maybe you're doing a Valentine's Day thing early this weekend or early Valentine's Day. I know some people are starting it off this weekend, just giving you a heads up on that. Now, behind that system, we do cool down. That's the thing. That's the trigger for all the wintry weather that we could see next week is those temperatures dropping down into the 30s and 40s for Super Bowl Sunday. So while you may be cheering on the Eagles or the Chiefs on Sunday, depending on who you are rooting for with that, you are going to be dealing with the colder temperatures as well. I personally will be in my onesie watching the game all the way up until about halftime, watching the halftime show, and then I'll be going to bed since I'll be up with you on Monday morning. But overall, we're going to be watching those thunderstorms threats. Remember, overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, especially. That rain chance on Saturday. And once we get past that Saturday storm threat, we have a better idea of what's going to be going on in terms of what's happening for next week. So the timing of this has changed. It's looking now like as we head into Sunday night and Monday morning, we'll start to see some of that snow trying to move into portions of wave country. And depending on the temperatures, it does look like we could see that snow switch over the rain. Now, here's where the track and the timing of everything of the lows as we head into next week plays a role. Because if we end up with this low going a little bit further to the south, then we are solidly talking about just snow across the area. If this system goes far enough to the north, then we're just talking about rain coming across the area. But trends still look like we're going to be dealing with some snow and some rain as we get into next Monday and Tuesday. The question is, how quickly will it move out? As of right now, it does look like the majority of that rain and snow will move out of our region early on Wednesday morning. But if this slows down, then that will change the timing, it will change the totals, it will change the type of precipitation that we see. So it's still way too early to give numbers, and it's still way too early to nail down even the precipitation types because just the track of the low will change that across the area. So we still have to watch this a little bit more, see how things trend, because the biggest change in the forecast so far is pushing this into our area a little bit earlier. And with that, that means we are not going to see that ability to cool down as much before the system moves in, which allows us to see that snow to rain switch happening. So this is something that we'll have to keep an eye on for next week across our region. And behind that, we look to stay in the 30s for Wednesday and Thursday before yet another system could bring some more of that rain back into our forecast for the following weekend. So Valentine's Day weekend may be a little bit of an active one weather-wise across the area. So a lot to watch across our region over the next 10 days. Our main focus, though, is still that severe threat for the overnight hours into tomorrow morning, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. That's the time frame we're going to be looking at. Ryan and Kevin will be here for the afternoon into tonight, and I will be up earlier than I usually am, back in here as early as I can be to make sure I'm here to back up Kevin if anything does become strong or severe early tomorrow morning. So a lot to watch for those of you who are going to be up and maybe have a little bit of anxiety about it. I just want to make sure I give you that heads up. Cameron has a question. I think I missed it, but what about any severe threats Saturday being warmer? Yes, we do have the chance for some stronger thunderstorms on Saturday. That is certainly something we are watching with certainly the CSU, Colorado State University, their severe weather modeling showing that potential for some stronger storms in our area. Here's the thing, though. We have a better idea of what's happening Saturday after we get rid of today and tomorrow's system, because if we're able to get enough of that data coming in once we head into Thursday, that'll give us a better idea of what's going to be happening towards Saturday. So we do have to wait a little bit longer. And if you look at the Wave Weather app, if we see that potential for severe weather really going up across the area, then we'll add in an alert day for Saturday. And we're still keeping an eye on that threat for wintry weather as we head into next week. So if you see another alert day popping out for Monday and or Tuesday of next week, then you know that potential for wintry weather, impactful wintry weather across the area is coming back our way. So Yeah, we're going to be dealing with a lot. I know a lot of you are already exhausted thinking about it. I'm exhausted thinking about it, but hey, we got your back. We're with you, and certainly we'll make sure to keep you updated as much as we can as we head over the next 10 days. But for tonight, once again, it's the overnight hours. Make sure you have multiple ways to get alerts with those storms coming in, and make sure that you are taking care of yourselves, your pets, your family, giving everybody a heads up of what could potentially come our way. But I'm going to hop off of here right now because I got to get ready for midday and update our news team about what's coming our way so we can make sure we have the proper staffing as well with that. So I will be back on midday at 11 a.m. with the latest information. We still have some models coming in, so I do have to dive into that so I can keep you updated with that. And for midday and noon, and then Ryan will be here for later on this afternoon, updating you on what the radar looks like across the area. So everybody stay safe, stay warm today, and stay weather aware as we watch for more of those thunderstorms coming back into our forecast. Have a great day, and I'll see you at 11.